Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the Daily Office Lectionary. Today for Monday, I want to jump right back into St. John's Gospel. We're looking at the 6th chapter. And we heard about Jesus a couple of days ago, Friday, talking about the feeding of the multitudes with the loaves and fishes. That morphed into a talk about him being the bread of life. Now we're going to fill in the blanks about the theology of the Holy Communion, which is where the point that Jesus is getting to in this particular chapter of John's Gospel. So we're in chapter 6, beginning at verse 41. The Jews then murmured at him because he said, "I am the bread which came down from heaven." And they said, "Is not this Jesus, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I came down from heaven?" Jesus therefore answered and said unto them, "Murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day. It is written in the prophets that they shall all be taught of God. Every man therefore that hath heard and hath learned of the Father cometh unto me. Not that any man hath seen the Father, save he which is of God, he hath seen the Father. Verily I say unto you, he that believeth on me hath everlasting life. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness, and are dead. This is the bread which came down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world." The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, "How can this man give us his flesh to eat?" Then Jesus said unto them, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father hath sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever." These things said he in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum. Okay, we're not talking about something that is an analogy. We're not talking about something that is somehow a symbol or a symbolism. Jesus doesn't give that to you. As a matter of fact, later when we get further to the 6th chapter, you'll see when people went away because it was a hard saying. Jesus didn't chase after him and go, "Oh, wait, I just meant that as a symbol." Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. Jesus also says, by the way, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, he says, "This is my body and this is my blood." So Jesus says we must eat his flesh and drink his blood. It's a part of the sacramental nature of the church. The sacraments, those outward and visible signs of the inward and spiritual grace, right? Jesus says, "This is my body, this is my blood." He takes the bread at the Last Supper. He makes it his body. He takes the wine, and that becomes his blood. And then he reminds them, the disciples, the followers of Jesus at Capernaum, the synagogue of Capernaum. He says, "Look, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you." Folks, that's what we do here at St. John's. That's what we do at the churches that believe in this sacramental principle because Jesus believes it and he taught it. It is his gift to us of his own flesh to strengthen us, to nourish us, right? A grace-filled nourishment from the inside out. And we miss it. We make excuses not to go. I love that you're watching the live stream. Thanks be to God. But are you getting to receive communion too? Unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life in you. I don't make the rules. I'm just teaching them. It's a gift, folks. It's a free gift from God. Let's take advantage of it. Speaking of which, we do have Holy Communion today here at St. John's at 12:15. I hope you can come and join us if you haven't received communion in a while, right? It would be a great time to start. No time like the present. And then 4 p.m. evening prayer. And I hope to see you in church, or here online for that matter. And I hope your Monday is full of blessings.